Got it. Should be going live here in a second. Good. I'm going to mute that. Great. We are live. I'm going to bring this up here as well. I can see this here. I can chat. Welcome. Kit. Let me go ahead and pull up the link for the kit. Welcome, everybody. I'm going to teach you how to grow Moringa microgreens today. We've got some fresh microgreens. Good day. Happy Sunday. I'm just pulling up some links. To share in the chat. And today I'm going to teach you how to grow Moringa microgreens. We've got everything set up. Let me pull up this link here for you. There we go. You can use code Moringa10 for 10% off. I'm also going to share the chat so that way you can come in if you'd like to come into the meeting, if you'd like to come into the chat. Would love to share the screen with you, and also if you want to promote anything, if you have a Moringa business, would love to hear your story. I'm going to pull up the Zoom here and share this room with you if you would like to come in. I'm going to copy the link and put it in the chat here. Join this Zoom with me, a potential co-host for a minute. If you'd like to come in, we can chat. I'm going to start going in here and talking about what is Moringa microgreens? What are Moringa microgreens? So welcome. I've been getting ready for this meeting today and really happy to be here with you. Happy Sunday. Beautiful. I'll be able to see here if anybody wants to come in. I can see the chat as well. Thanks, everybody. Welcome. Just had a little snack. I was actually just eating some of these Moringa microgreens. It just got done raining here. I know it's going to start raining pretty soon on the other side of California. I've got people growing Moringa in California that are asking me, what do I do? It's about to rain. What's going on? It's about to rain. And I'm just like, what do you mean? Like, what's the big deal? But, they're going to get their whole year's worth of rain in a day. And we normally get that much rain in an afternoon. It'll rain 4 inches in an afternoon. That was pretty funny. Check out these Moringa microgreens. Can you see these greens here? Check this out. I know you guys can see them already on the camera here. Beautiful Moringa microgreens in a tray. Look at that. You can see I've already cut some of these back. This is how you grow Moringa microgreens, just like this. And I'm going to teach you exactly how to do this today. So stay tuned, because we're gonna put one of these kits together. Right on. So the key with the Moringa microgreens is to harvest the greens before they turn yellow with the scissors. And actually, some of the cuts that I made earlier in the week are already starting to re-sprout. So you can either cut just the branch, just a little side branch like this. And if they're starting to turn yellow or anything like that, just take them off before they're fully yellow and then eat them. Wow. Amazing. Super fresh. Another way to keep your microgreens kit really healthy is to keep it from crowding too much. So that's why you want to continually cut back any of the lower branches and remove some of the crowding ones. You might even start to see some of the leaves curl up or discolor. And you want to go ahead and just grab it. Now, so far we've just grabbed little side branches, but here I went ahead and just grabbed a full on top. And that's a full top right there, right? This full top is something that you can also eat the whole thing, especially the very, very tip. And the leaves. Very good. This is helpful when you're trimming this back every day. At this point, you want to trim this back every day. You want to eat this every day. You want to get fresh greens. You want to keep it from getting too busy in here. So I'll let you know some of the trick here is if you cut it before the first leaf. Let me go ahead and cut one before the first leaf. I'll tell you what I'm talking about. If you cut it before the first leaf, like I did here, this is the first leaf. Okay. If you cut it before the first leaf, the stem is most likely going to die back and it's going to resprout a whole new stem. The seed that's in there is going to resprout a whole new stem, most likely, if you cut it before the first stem. If you cut it after the first stem, here, like this, then what's going to happen is, and if you remove these leaves, what's going to happen is it's going to start sprouting from these points right here. And I can show you. I'll go ahead and cut another one back to show you as an example, like this one here. That's what I did with this one. And you can kind of see that it's already starting to resprout all new greens there. Do you see that? I'll put it on my shirt there. There you go. See how that's already starting to get a little bit more greens on it? Because that was the first leaf right there. Can everybody hear me good? Say yes in the chat. Say what's up in the chat here. I'm on TikTok and YouTube. And so say, hey, we got a few people here watching on YouTube. Welcome everybody. Hey, good. Kaz is here. Welcome. So I wanted to get everybody to know exactly the strategy for keeping a really healthy microgreens kit on your table. Now, I've had these outside, right? They like it really warm, but you can see I've got a fan on and it's slightly brushing the branches and the leaves. They really like to have wind. They really love the wind. The more wind that you have, the more strength that the stems will get. Because otherwise, if you don't have a lot of wind and it's really stagnant, then they're going to fall over. They potentially will get lots of pests and bugs. They'll start to get fungus and mold and bacteria. So the key to taking care of your Moringa microgreens is to not water too much. See how I have the soil fairly dry? It just kind of rained outside, and I did not have these out in the rain. I had these on my porch, right? So you can see that I fairly have it dry, and you can see there's perlite in there. This is a sandy base soil. And let's go ahead and jump into showing you exactly how to put this kit together. Wonderful. Welcome, everybody. I'm showing everybody how to grow Moringa microgreens. We've got about 20 or so people in the YouTube. Welcome, everybody. Everybody say, hey, yes, in the chat. I'm seeing Kaz here. Happy saying yes. Great. I'm glad that you can hear me well. Wonderful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you a kit with all the materials that you need to grow a microgreens tray on your table. Everything fits right in here in this kit. Let's go ahead and go through and welcome everybody here in the chat. Welcome. You can text me at 813-567-3100. You can text. See, I always do that. Text collective to 813-567-3100 to get a call back from me. And ask me any questions. See, I did it again. It's always with the phone number. 813-567-3100. Let's see. There we go. Text me. Text collective. The word collective, and I'll see that. And I'll know that you're really interested in just kind of getting in, learning some more information. Welcome. Good, good. We've got Lane in here. Lane in here is saying, oh, and Alicia, I just saw Alicia came into the free marketplace as well. Welcome. Ask any questions that you'd like. In the menu, you can go to the home, the post, the share section in the marketplace and ask any questions that you like. I'm also getting back to people there as well. And I just saw that you came in, so thank you. And what I'm talking about for others is the free marketplace, the free Moringa marketplace. It's a place where you can actually begin to purchase Moringa from people that you trust. And you can also begin to sell your Moringa. Welcome, welcome. We'll do Moringa marketplace.mn.co. And you can actually download the app on your phone. We use the Mighty Networks app. Welcome from Guatemala. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thanks so much. I'm glad that you're here. Let's go ahead and jump in because actually one of our products that we make is in very close to you in Nicaragua. It's our biostimulant. We have 1,000 acres. We're partnered with one of our members in Nicaragua, and he has 1,000 acres of Moringa. So inside of our kit, inside of our Moringa Microgreens Kit, everything is all together. And you'll have a QR code that's going to take you to a website page that's going to have all of the information about the steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This paper here is also more information about how to use the biostimulant liquid, extract, and the powder. Welcome. We've got Christo here from Trinidad. Welcome. Oh, beautiful. I'm sure you have lots of Moringa growing there in the area. We're teaching people here that one of the things that is kind of like a bottleneck to the company right now and to many, many people that are in need is the ability to dry the leaves. And so we are looking for a warehouse in Tampa, Brandon, Plant City, Winona-Sassa, Seffner area, more so on the East Tampa side, that could house a place for us to be able to bring everybody's trees material, all their leaves into to dry. Because I've got hundreds of people texting me and telling me that they have greens that they need harvested. And I used to be able to go around and harvest them because I had a store. But since I moved out here to my farm in Plant City, I don't really have a lot of space to dry. I really just have enough space to dry to make a few small items. And so I'm looking for a much bigger space to dry leaves. So we are on the lookout for a warehouse to purchase in the Tampa Bay area. It's going to come. We're going to find a deal. So Moringa Microgreens Kit, when you open up this box, you'll notice that this is a plethora of information. This is a book inside of a box. And it's going to come with perlite, a bag of perlite. It also comes with 200 seeds. There's 200 moringa seeds in here, PKM1, all organic. And then also it comes with 8 ounces of our extract. This is the extract that we're making in Nicaragua. It's USDA certified organic, and it's made from the moringa leaves. In case anybody doesn't know, the reason why moringa is so special, one of the many reasons, is because it has zeaxanthin in it. It has more zeaxanthin in the leaves than any other plant. It's millions of times more zeaxanthin in moringa. It's actually one of the reasons why moringa grows really fast, is because it has so much zeaxanthin. So we make a biostimulant from that, from the leaves. And then also it comes with biostimulant powder, which essentially is just the moringa powder. But when you put this in the soil, this is what's going to also help give it microorganisms, the enzymes, and it's going to help activate your extract as well. They are synergistically working together to help build the biology of the soil and to have a happier home for the root systems. That way they come out. That's why you see these greens are doing so well. They've been sprouted now for about a week and a half. I probably planted these seeds about 2.5 weeks ago. And I've already been eating from these for the last week. I've been popping tops off and grabbing greens off of this for a whole week already. What's so special about the microgreens kit is that once you get them sprouted, they're going to continually pop for you. This is not like a kale top or like a broccoli top where it's kind of like a one and done. This is going to continually pop out more and more greens for 30, 60, 90 days, as long as you're feeding it food and you put the biostimulant powder in the soil, which is what we're going to make here. I'm going to show you how to make it. It also comes with 4 pounds of soil. This is organic soil. So each bag is 2 pounds. And this is coming from a local place that makes soil. It's called Florida Organic Solutions. I got 25 yards dropped off to my farm. And so this is a really great base product for you to begin to grow really well. Moringa loves sandy soil, and this is a sandy base. And then what's really cool is that we have a sprouting mat. It comes with the sprouting mat already ready for you. This is what's going to give your root systems a place to really fester and dig in and find some places to really gravitate to. And also it's going to give a place for the microorganisms to live. And it's also going to enhance the root structure of the trees to help them last longer. And it just gives them structure while they're in the shallow tray. Because what's going to happen is over time, and then of course the tray, right? So we've got a nice tray. There's no holes in this tray. This is going to be a really good tray for you to be able to have on your kitchen counter, no leaking or anything like that. And I was just going to say that the root systems, usually in moringa, they start to get really tall and they start to form a taproot. So over time, you're going to start noticing that these root systems are going to push up almost like a little mini carrot. And you can begin to remove little trees as they start really starting to thicken up and mature, say after 60, 90 days. Okay. Let's go ahead and hop right in to making our kit. If there's any questions, I see Christo's in here. Can you make the powder with the seeds? Actually, the powder is made from the leaves. The powder is made from the leaves, and the oil is made from the seeds. So when you press the seeds, that makes oil. When you blend the dried leaves, that makes powder. That's a good question. Good. Oh, look at this. Christo's in Trinidad and he says that he doesn't even have enough trees to keep up with the demand. That's what I'm facing right here. I've got more sales than I can deal with. So what I ended up having to do is, because of my supply, I ended up having to raise my price because supply and demand. So they go hand in hand. And I teach that about sales and marketing. And, you know, as one person, you're going to start to get people to know you for having Moringa. Like me, I've been doing this for about 7-8 years. And so I still get customers from when I was at the farmer's market in 2015, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. You know, I was at the farmer's market for about 6-7 years there. Every season, I've got thousands of emails and phone numbers of people just in this local area that know me as the Moringa Man. And they continually reach out to me. And there's always changes with prices. So just let people know that, you know, if they're looking for something from you and you change your price and they're like, hey, it's not what it used to be. You can tell them, you know, like what I do is I throw sales and I have coupon codes. And I also have special events where people can meet up with me where they don't have to pay for shipping and things like that. So it's important to, you know, incentivize customers, always check back in with you, join up on your newsletter. It's good to get a free leader where where it's like, hey, you might not have supply right now, but make sure you're getting their information, like their email or their phone number. So that way, whenever you do have it in stock, you can send them out a mass email or a mass text, right? I do a lot of business training, especially for Moringa farmers, Moringa growers specifically, to really help them increase their sales. I want to get you making 6 figures a year, right? At least get you to 3 to 4 figures a month, 5 figures, you know, at least a month, you know. And you can do that potentially starting with this kit. This kit is going to get you 200 trees. Look, start off with 200 trees just like this. This is how you start your business. What an investment. This is going to help get your business started. Turn it this way. I see some leaves that are yellowing over here that I want to grab. I'm going to go ahead and just grab any leaves that are yellowing. If I see anything yellowing, start yellow. That also is a little bit of a light right here. Oh, this leaf right here is definitely a nice old big leaf. Some of the very first leaves that come out are super big. You know, like, wow, I have like really big leaves. And so let's trim up a little bit of these, and I'll keep trimming this up throughout the meeting today. Oh, there it is. Boom. Just kind of getting rid of anything that's beginning to yellow or fold over. It just means that it's too crowded in there. That'll help bring in the light and just make more room for the others to get big. Okay, let's go ahead and dive in to making this kit. Is everybody having a good time? All right, cool. All right, so this comes with your kit, and this is 8 ounces of the liquid moringa leaf extract. And it comes with this really nice bottle because here, now what I might actually need to do is just fill this up with water really quickly. While that's filling up, everybody's having a good time. It's just going to take a second. Christo's saying, he's saying thanks because he's been learning a lot watching and starting off from some of the past videos. I've got many, many years of videos on here. I have taken off over 2,000 videos off of this YouTube channel, and they are now inside the members area. So if you want to come in, please don't hesitate to get into the membership. It's actually on sale right now, and will only be on sale until September 9th. Okay, great. got our water here, so just want to get some water. This is from the well. It hasn't been treated, doesn't have chlorine or any, it doesn't have chloride in it. And it just has like a D iron and it's a softener. So it just has like a RO filter on it too. But we're going to put the minerals back into it. And this is how you do it with this thing here. So it's 4 ounces to every gallon. So we're going to fill this up, squeeze it a little bit. This is a 1/2 ounce, right? And then fill that up again. That's 1 ounce. And then 1/2, 1 1/2, 2, 2 1/2, 3, 2 more, 3 1/2, and then 1 more, 4. So it's pretty much half a bottle, half of one of these bottles, right? So that was about 8 of these little ones, because this is about a 1/2 ounce on the thing. Okay. So we'll go ahead and just kind of stir that up a little bit. And one of the things that you can do too that is really good is to have a little bit of a sprayer. This really helps too. But what I'm going to do first is just get this seed tray a little wet first. So pouring the biostimulant in here. Oh, maybe about a half a gallon. Right, so that's going to soak the tray up. And we'll just let that soak for a second. You can get that completely wet and just kind of press that down a little bit. And this is, USDA certified organic biostimulant. It's just made from moringa leaves. It's a moringa leaf concentrate. The leaves are fermented and then put in the bottle for you. So put a little bit more in here. Just kind of want to get the seed tray really soaked. And then we're going to put the rest of it in the spray bottle. So I got a nice spray bottle here. So 1 gallon spray bottle. Great. It's good to have these little tools around if you're a gardener. Always have these little things around. I'm really glad that I can help teach you guys. It's kind of really what I'm really getting into is teaching. My collective is really starting to really pop off. It's got over 350 people in it now that are contributing to the daily vibe. It's really nice. They're asking questions, they're getting help. They are catching up on older videos. They're also inside the members area. I go live right now every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern. But when the time changes, I'm going to start putting it to 8 p.m. And I might even be able to just do like a Monday through Friday till the end of the year. Just do a couple months worth of really honing in on teaching and getting everybody this information so that way they can start really getting their operation going. Because the more help that we get with this, the more we can help with the demand. Because there's so much demand on me right now to produce 10 kilos of moringa every day. I would love to say, hey, Alicia's got 10 pounds and Lane's got 10 pounds and Christo's got 10 pounds and Kaz has 10 pounds worth of powder, or, other materials like seeds and oil and capsules and loose leaf tea, especially. Tea is a really huge part of this business as well. All right, so now that we have our sprouting tray here is wet, you can see here, this is our sprouting tray. It's got our biostimulant in there, soaking up. Let's go ahead and set this aside for right now. I'll just go ahead and set this down here really quickly, just for more room. Okay, and I'm going to bring this in center, because what we're going to do now is we're going to make soil. I guess I can set this here. Just switch out. So now where we take our 4 pounds of soil, let's go ahead and put this in. Right on. This is the perfect amount of soil that you need. I might even need to grab my my soil mixer real quick, just to mix it in real quick. I'll be right back. I have to grab my little trowel. All these supplies. Okay, so I got my trowel, right? And let's go ahead and add our perlite. Thanks for hanging out with me, everybody. So we're going to add the perlite in there now. This is going to help with drainage. This is going to really keep the soil healthy. It also helps to prevent mold and bacteria from building up. Perlite is actually obsidian glass that has been cooked and popped like popcorn, and it's a inorganic material. It's rock form. Okay, and then the trick is to add the powder, the biostimulant powder. Good. Cristo is actually asking, how does he join the membership? Good. I can share with you the link really quickly here. Membership is here, and we could have you from anywhere in the world. Anybody can sign up here. It's at the shop. Pretty much right there on the home page. It's only a one-time payment of $150. There's no yearly payment right now. And you can actually use Moringa 10 for 10% off. And the sale is only till 9/9/23. Thanks, everybody. Yeah, come on in. I've got a ton of information for you in there, and also continual help and support. So it's 24/7 support. Whenever you're asking questions or need help with anything, I've got myself, members, and also I've got helpers that are helping me get back to questions. We have collective support inside there. So this is the Moringa powder. This is biostimulant powder. This is, there's different types of grades of powder. And so it's really expensive to produce a kind of like a food grade edible powder, but it's a little bit cheaper to produce a plant powder. And so this plant powder we have in bulk, from all over the world, essentially. It's a USDA certified organic Moringa powder. And the secret to utilizing Moringa powder is to put it in the soil, because this is vitamins, minerals, just like you're consuming powder for yourself. It's the same thing with the plants, and it's really helpful. So we're going to put some powder in there. It doesn't have to be the whole package. You can actually save some. You can even just use half a package. That way you can put it down on other plants too. There's a lot in, you really don't need a whole package for it, but we went ahead and put enough in there for you. And then from there, we're just going to mix this all in. You know what? Now that I'm mixing it in, I think I really do want to do the whole package. I think that's why I designed it this way. I did the whole package on this one and the other one that I did for another demonstration. I'm just going to go ahead and do the whole package. Yeah, it's not much. It's perfect. That's why we have it in the kit, so that way there's plenty of it for mineralizing Yeah, that's exactly right. I like that. I like a little bit of a tint. And we're just going to mix that in there really good. We're just mixing the vitamins, the minerals from the powder, which we call biostimulant. So it helps with activating microorganisms. It's really like bringing this soil alive, because this organic soil is really just a base. All right, so we mix that in good. Okay, now we're going to bring back our tray. Thanks everybody for hanging out and learning everything that you need to know about Moringa microgreens today with me. All right, so we've got our tray now. We're going to get our supplies right here. Or you can hold on to this biostimulant because you're going to need it as you continue to water the plant. Okay, great. Now we're going to go ahead and put about half of this down in the tray. Maybe even a little bit more than half, maybe like 3/4. This is going to give the moringa seeds a good clean base. Get a couple hundred seeds sprouted right here on your kitchen counter. They do like it warm, so if you keep your house cold, you might want to have this under a heat lamp or like a sunlight, because moringa like it hot. They like it warm. They really sprout when the temperatures are over 70, 75 is ideal. And I've got them outside sprouting in 80, 85 degrees. They love it warm. That's why any tropical, subtropical location is going to have really great success with this. So even in the wintertime, if you're up north, if you have a place where you can keep it warm, get this on a sprouting rack with heat lamps and even lamps for sun, you're going to do great. This can be done all winter long, as long as you kind of have this set up for it. If you're already doing microgreens, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And then now we've got our seeds. You don't have to pre-soak. You don't have to score them. You could pre-soak them for 24 hours if you wanted to. You don't have to. These are going to start soaking the moment that you put them in here. So we're just going to spread these out. This is 200 seeds that you're going to have from your kit. This comes with the kit. Yeah. So Alicia's asking, does the moringa powder help with all plants? Exactly. It sure does, actually. That's what moringa is used for, more so than human consumption. Moringa is used for people, pets, and plants. So out of the $9 billion a year, moringa actually makes like 4 billion from just the soil consumption part of it, because farmers use a lot of it, right? Farmers are buying the powder, they're buying the greens from other farms. $4 billion worth of moringa is being used for just plants. You've got tomato farmers, pepper farmers, onion farmers, garlic farmers, corn farmers. All the gambit of farmers are using the moringa powder. So think about getting into the market of moringa. Do you want to sell to just people that are just going to consume, maybe a couple ounces a month? Or do you want to market to a farmer who's going to buy hundreds of pounds a month? This is a game changer for educating. Exactly. This is a game changer for educating not only the people that are growing it, who to sell to, because it's like you could decide in your business that you don't want to even sell to people or to animals, and you focus really just on plant food, and your market is farmers, where you're going and you're talking directly to farmers. You have to know who you're talking to, who your market is. Somebody who's selling supplements and capsules, they might be talking to somebody who is always on the go, right? So they're making ads for people that are like, hey, are you on the go? Do you find that you don't even have time to make a smoothie? Well, then get my Moringa capsules, because this is the fastest way to consume Moringa, right? So that would be like a quick advertisement for capsules. But when you're talking Moringa powder and capsules, they might buy 100 a month, 200 a month, right? You might make $60 a month off that one person. But if you go to the farmer side, if you start selling to farmers, they will buy hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of Moringa powder as biostimulant. If you market correctly, you have the right label on it. So that's what I'm teaching everybody here is you've got the right label on this biostimulant. They buy hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of fertilizers, supplements for the soil, and you can actually save farmers money, because instead of having to buy hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of just like say like the normal stuff that they get, because that price is really going up, you can actually offer an alternative to high price fertilizer and say, hey, instead of applying your fertilizer every month, half it, apply it every other month, and save by putting down Moringa powder every other month. So put down some powder, put down your typical fertilizer that you're already using. But that might help them save $100,000 in the year, $50,000 in the year. I mean, that's huge, because you're able to sell to them for cheaper. So it is a huge game changer. Connie is asking what the grow mat is made of. It's made out of hemp. It's also organic hemp. But even like on my website, I can't even say hemp. I put hemp on it. And as soon as I put hemp on my website with a picture that said hemp on it, they took all my products off of Instagram. So now I took hemp, the word hemp off of it, and just put sprouting mat, but it is made out of hemp fiber. And so let's spread around our seeds evenly throughout our tray here. Just a little layer of about 200 seeds here. And that's exactly what you see here in this tray. Just 200 seeds. I'm just kind of spreading it out, making sure that they're all kind of like, they have their own little space and that they don't have clutter, too much clutter. They all have their own room. Doesn't have to be super meticulous or perfect. They will, over time, begin to find their own perfect spot, but this is a good way to just kind of help them out a little bit. So that way there's not too much crowding. That's why 200 is exactly the right amount. You can kind of see that here. 200 in a tray. Look at that. Perfect, right? All right. Then the next step is to go ahead and just top it with the rest of your soil. The rule of pinky is you bury the seed the size of the seed. So for say kale and lettuce, they're very, very small seeds. You barely have to cover them. If anything, you can just throw them out and they'll sprout. Moringa seeds, they don't need to be buried too much, but they can be buried about 1/2 inch. And so we really just give them a layer to where they disappear. I'm really just covering them so that way they're not exposed. That's really it. So we're just covering it. Pretty much you'll be able to use all of your soil. And if you have a little bit left over, you can put it on your other pots if you have any, or save it to where, say maybe some of your seeds might become exposed after, a week or so. just from settling and just from soil, maybe from your watering or whatever. But really just covering up a full layer here. That way they all disappear. I have a little bit left, but it's all right. I don't want to have any seed exposed. Give it a nice good cover. Oh, that's why it's good to have a little bit extra in here. I really only put like 3/4 down. I actually might use all of it. See, this whole thing is pretty perfectly designed. I put all this together, measured everything out, tested it. Yeah, went ahead and used the whole thing. Perfect. Put it out. That gives them really good coverage. And then the next trick is to just water them in. You just want to give them a good watering. Let's go ahead and use our little sprayer here. It's good to have a nice little 1-gallon sprayer. It's super handy. I do need to get a new one because it doesn't really spray as much. It's more of like a stream, but this still really helps. Nice. So we just get this completely wet. That's why I like this tray, because it doesn't have any holes in it. And the trick to this is to not necessarily water every day. I'm really only watering if I notice that it's dry. So I'm just going to give it a really good soak to start off. We already have a lot of water down in the base, right? So that's going to trickle up. It's going to keep it really wet from down below. But I'm really just kind of giving all the edges and all the pieces here. Then what you might want to do is come back in like an hour. I've still got another half a gallon, but you might want to come back in like an hour or so, and it'll probably dry out a little bit. It's heavy, right? So it's pretty heavy. It's got a lot of water in there. It got about 4 pounds of soil. It's probably about 5 pounds, 6 pounds altogether now. And voila, got ourselves a Moringa Microgreens tray ready to go. Beautiful. So let me know if there's any questions. We have a few questions here as well. If you're in Mobile, Alabama, and you're in a really good place to probably grow moringa for a long time throughout the year, you know, there's really only a few months there that it gets cold to where, you know, you might have to put trees in from the wintertime, or if there's a frost, they might die all the way back to the ground, but they should come back every year. And if they don't, just know that as soon as you have your last cold spout, you have your last frost, that you should hit it hard for that season, because you've probably got about 9 or 10 months worth of season, you know, and just redo it every year. Just do it 10 times more every year. So we're going to keep thinning this out a little bit, so that way I can grab any of these leaves before they turn yellow, and really just giving some space. And I'll be able to either eat these today. I'll probably put these in my salad. I'm probably ready to go for a nice salad here, and I would love to just chop these greens up. And I can, the stems are still pretty soft, but I will probably remove a lot of the stems and just have the leaves. Was there a question here? Good. Yeah, I mean, you could get started now. I mean, I know it's coming into fall, but if you got the kits going now, even if you just got seeds and, you know, didn't get the whole kit, but if you grab seeds and maybe made your own kind of makeshift kit from maybe some things that you had around, use your own soil, you know, perlite's pretty cheap, you know, you could ferment your own juice. You can make your own moringa juice from leaves, or even a fermented plant juice from anything that you have growing outside. Essentially, that's what this biostimulant is made from moringa leaf, fermented moringa leaf, but you can ferment any leaves and it's a good fertilizer. Now, the reason why I was hesitant to say fertilizer is because fertilizer is a very regulated kind of business, and vice versa. We can call it biostimulant, and that is a soil amendment, and it's not as regulated. So the classification of this juice is actually a soil amendment, not a fertilizer. What's the difference? Fertilizer feeds the roots. It's more of like a chemical reaction, or it's more of, everything is like chemicals. Not that fertilizers, say like other fertilizers, like even rock dust and other things like organic fertilizers. It's just like when we eat, it's a chemical reaction that's happening in our stomach, right? It's the same thing. When the root systems are eating, it's a chemical reaction. So that's what I mean by that. And so fertilizer is classified as something that feeds the root system, but this is classified as feeding the soil because of the zeatin. The zeatin is actually feeding the microorganisms of the soil. So the makeup of this is actually classified with less rules, less regulations, which is good for retailers and sellers and makers of it. So that way they don't have to be like a huge multi-million-dollar company to be able to have something like this. Now, the difference between this and something that you would make at home is that the stuff that you make at home, it would go bad. So what the makers of this have done, have experimented with preservative, and being able to put it in a bottle to where it lasts about a year to 2 years from the time that it's made. So there is an expiration date on here. It does last a few years, but of course the freshest is the best. We regularly get batches in from Nicaragua. This is the latest batch that just came in over the summer. And so we're selling out of this, and we're putting it in the kits. That way it can be used fast. Let's see here, just making a little bit of space, kind of grabbing any of the ones that are just really tall. And I'm trying to grab some above the first leaf and some below the first leaf. This one I just grabbed above the first leaf. There was another set of leaves down below this, and it'll regrow new shoots from there. But I'm really just looking to see if there's any yellowing leaves starting to yellow or wilt, just from being in a tight space. Moringa just is a tree. The young leaves are very sensitive. As you can tell, it's very, very brittle. It's a very brittle leaf. It's the same leaf on the sprouts as a mature tree. These are the same type of leaves that are on a mature tree. And so even on a mature tree, you can grab the very, very tip that's coming out like this, and it's considered a microgreen because this is very, very tiny tip, and you can eat the whole thing. Hey, welcome. Faisal's here. Welcome. I've just been explaining how to sprout a Moringa Microgreens Kit. Look at that. Pretty cool. Yeah. And I'm going to make a salad with this pretty soon. Welcome. If anybody wanted to come in actually in the chat here, I will share this one more time before I go. If you want to come in the chat, if you actually want to come in and co-host, if anybody wants to ask questions live, this is the Zoom link that you can come in. Wonderful. Yeah, even if you're just getting ready for spring, getting your knowledge up, this is really important for anybody that's just learning about Moringa. I do that. A lot of people are coming into the members area right now just because of the sale that we have going on. One-time payment of $150 gets you in for life. And that sale ends on September 9th. And somebody asked, what temperatures are too hot to grow moringa? Well, there is a too hot for sure, especially because they're in Arizona, right? So with sprouting trees, it's like a child, there's a range. But when the trees get wood on them is when their skin is able to kind of thicken up a little bit, right? Like, so with a child, they get burnt really easy, right? So you've got to put lots of sunscreen on them. So you got to keep your young trees in partial shade. Actually, we have several growers in Arizona that are in the members area, and they really were struggling this summer. So they even put them under like tents and put shade cloth all the way around it. So that way the sun didn't even directly touch the trees at all. And the ones that did, especially in pots, man, they fried out. They fried right out. So I've been able to go in every single day to the members area. People are sharing pictures like, oh no, what's going on? What's wrong with my trees? And we're able to say, not to worry, you got to just put some shade on it, or you've got to put some mulch on the ground. Or even one of the members that's in California was like, what up with this rain? What do I do? And so I told him to put some rocks around the tree so that way that dirt, possibly doesn't just wash away the root system. So he's got some bricks and things like that now laid around the tree, which hopefully will help during the storm. So I hope everybody's going to make it out all right in the storm that's rolling through there, California. Actually, one of the members actually just invited me out to California yesterday. He said that he'd like to get me a ticket so that way he could send me out to Sacramento. And he's got a full moringa operation out there with huge greenhouses and everything. So we'll probably do a podcast interview, spend a couple of days with him. And I would really love to get out to California to see how the moringas are doing out there. I know moringa has a huge industry out in California. Matter of fact, California is known for having California moringa. Like, they have a special type of moringa in California that has bigger leaves and is drought tolerant. I think because of the weather there, the leaves are a little bit bigger, and that way they can absorb more, but also that bigger leaves help to cool, because the structure of the branch actually is the perfect structure for cooling and moving the wind underneath the leaf to cool the tree the most. So this is like the perfect structure to cool off. That's why these trees love it hot. They make it through the heat really, really well. I'm pulling off any of like the big side branches. They're just kind of like crowding others. I want to be able to dry out the top. So I want the soil to be able to dry out. Before I water this again, I want the soil to be completely dried. There's water down here in the bottom. They're not going to dry out. But if you continually let the soil wet up top, then it's going to form mold, bacteria. If there's going to be fungus that ends up forming on the leaves, you're going to end up bringing in a lot of pests. So one thing that's really cool with the leaves is like, even if you water the leaves, you'll notice that the water doesn't even really like stay on the leaf, because they're what's called hydrophobic. They repel water. So the leaves actually repel water, which is really cool. That helps them to keep, that's actually one of the reasons why they're kind of like a cleaner leaf and a cleaner tree, because they don't accumulate a lot of dust or particles on the actual leaf. They don't have a shine. Like they can have a shine to them. They don't have like a thick shell. Like the cell wall of moringa is very, very thin, which is why it's edible right off the tree. Like you can't just go up to a holly tree, right, with those thick leaves, or like a maple tree or an oak tree, and just chew on the leaves. Like you've got to boil those leaves like a rumbling boil for like 20, 30 minutes, right, to be able to extract the minerals and the nutrients from that. But a moringa leaf, the minerals and everything are so right on the surface, and they have such a thin cell wall that's what makes it ideal for eating. That's why it is such a great plant for consuming right off the tree, which makes it more bioavailable. So the minerals and the vitamins are more bioavailable than a lot of other leaves in the plant kingdom, just because of how sensitive and frail they are. But because of that, they will end up getting lots of pests and bugs on them at a young age. When they get older, they tend to be able to fight that with fast growth. They have an amazing immune system where they will drop lots of leaves fast. And that's the thing, is these leaves will continually fall off and drop. They'll yellow. This is why I'm harvesting, because before they turn yellow, before they bring in pests, before the fungus actually forms and spreads, if there's anything on the leaves, like even this right here, I'm noticing that is turning a little bit of a color, and it's actually kind of, you can kind of see it, right? That's kind of signs of, say, fungus. Some of the things that you can do is put a little bit of hydrogen peroxide in the water, and you can actually spray with a little bit of hydrogen peroxide. And so these have been sitting outside with lots of humidity in the air. It's been raining every single day. There's lots of mulch on the property. I'm growing bananas on the property. These are things that are high fungus producing materials. So the moringa on my property is more susceptible to fungus and mold and things like that. So I make sure that I do things like planting them high and dry, so that way when it rains every day, the water runs off of it. Now, like if you're in the desert, you kind of want to do it the opposite, where it's like you're growing it in like a bowl. In the tropics, we grow it much more on a mound. Easy is saying that they tried seedlings but failed, but also received a 5-gallon tree and was not able to grow them either. Birds and squirrels seem to eat the seedlings before they get to 4 to 7 inches. Yeah, you definitely need a grow house, a garden house with fence. Absolutely. That's the very first thing that I did on my property when I first moved to my property, was put up a greenhouse. I mean, that's, if you want to be a grower, if you want to be a gardener, the very first thing that you got to do is have a greenhouse and be able to grow in your greenhouse. My greenhouse is popping. It's got lots of stuff in it. Constantly cleaning out the pipes, making sure the weeds are clear from it. I've got the plastic down. I've got all the tables raised up on pallets. I put 2 cinder blocks, vertical cinder blocks. That way my tables are high. So that way, if you get an inspection, or if you want to ship your trees or your plants or anything, you've got it at least 18 inches off the ground. That's also going to help prevent you from having pathogens, because you'll have nice airflow down below. And that's why inspectors will come in, say you get a plant license, a plant nursery license. That's one of the very first things that I teach people when starting their moringa business, is getting a plant nursery license, because that's going to allow you to be able to ship trees, have trees for sale. It's a huge part of this business, is having a greenhouse, getting your greenhouse going. Absolutely. So that way you can start putting 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 of these in the greenhouse, and be able to every day come out with, fresh bundles of greens, to fill this bucket up with fresh greens. That way you could either package them fresh, like I'll show you a really cool idea. Moringa Microgreens. This is how you would have a product, a fresh product, ready to go. You can strip the stems a little bit. You take the stems off. But essentially, these greens are soft. These stems are soft, and the buyer could do it, depending on the scale that you're working. But look at this. Get this in a package. Go to the farmer's market. You've got yourself a little Moringa Microgreens box. Ready to go. Put a little label on there, put a couple bucks on there, buy two, get one free, put on here $5 or 3 for 10. And this is a great way for you to take your microgreens kit and turn it into cash and make a return on your investment right away. That's why you constantly want to go ahead and harvest these greens before they turn yellow. And get them while they're green, because a lot of people are like, oh, why are my greens turning yellow? Because as I was mentioning, these leaves do not live a very long time. They're a very short living leaf. And you want to grab them before they turn yellow. That's how you eat them. Welcome, Dr. Connie's here in Central Florida. When's the best time to harvest the pods? And do they need to dry on the tree? Or picking them when they're full, but not yet dried? Great question, Dr. Connie. Thanks for coming in from Central Florida. I love that question. I can answer that very well. So there are 3 types of drumsticks. Got a little drink of water here. There are 3 types of drumsticks. You're going to have your young, stringy drumstick that doesn't have any seeds inside. Okay, so you're going to have the very first phase. Phase 1 is the long, stringy green pods that have no seeds. That's phase 1. Those are good for chopping and putting into and grinding up and putting into pestos and sauces. Those are very good as a spicy mix to put in the blender and to be able to eat the whole thing. So before the skin gets really thick, you would put that whole entire stringy green pod, like a green bean, in a salad. You could chop it up or make a sauce or a dip or a pesto with that, right? Bung. Very good. The next phase 2, is the most ideal for cooking in soups. So that's when they're green and they have seeds on them and they're starting to get seeds. You can see the seeds forming on the inside, but you know that if you were to open it up, the seed would be very immature and it would end up being like white colored. The seed would be white. It wouldn't be fully dark, right? That's phase 2. Phase 2 is perfect for soup. Phase 3 is kind of what you're asking, is they're big, they're plump, and they're turning brown. And even before they turn brown, you want to grab them and then you want to dry them for about a week before opening them. Okay? So pull the big ones off. And even if you have to, cut the whole branch, that branch that is forming a drumstick is not going to form more drumsticks anyways. So wherever that flower came out of and formed a drumstick, it's not going to put out another flower, and it's not going to put out another drumstick in that same spot. So after your branch has already produced, 10, 20, 30 drumsticks, you want to go ahead and trim that branch back and let it come out with a whole new branch, say by next year. So this is how you can manage your tree, where you constantly have, even if you just have one tree, you can constantly manage it to where you've got different flow of things happening, where you've got drumsticks maturing, you've got fresh greens coming out. And so you're kind of rotating your tree and designing your tree to be functional for you and your needs. Especially if you're a culinary, like we have one of the members that is a culinary artist, and he's designing the trees and building them up based on what he's cooking. Right. So once the pods are plump and they start to have striations on them, stripes on them, that's when they're starting to brown out a little bit, but they're not fully dry. But you want to go ahead and harvest those back. You want to bring those in and you want to dry them for about a week before you open them up. Let them fully crisp out, let them dry out, dry them inside, because if you keep them outside, they're going to stay wet. They're not going to fully dry. They're going to get moldy and have fungus and bacteria will form because they're super moist and wet. So you want to bring them in, have a dry room is really handy, and even just have them inside because you have air conditioner, and that will help to also dry out your drumsticks. From there, about a week or so, when they're crispy, you can open them up and you'll have mature, dark seeds. Those seeds could then be grown for new trees, or they can be eaten, or they can be pressed into oil. Right? So if they're green, they look full, but they're not dried yet, cut the whole branch, strip the leaves, dry the leaves, get the flowers, dry the flowers, take the sticks, plant those sticks and make new trees, and then take those drumsticks and then dry them. And then you'll have perfectly dried seeds that you can then sell. I mean, just that bag of seeds here, this is $10. Just 100 seeds. You can get that off of just a couple pods, maybe 5-10 pods, right? Thanks, Dr. Connie. Hopefully that helped. And any quick setup garden house would be fine. What type of watering pump? Okay, good question. So what I have is it hooked up to my well, right? So I have it on. And then there's a thing called a solenoid. A solenoid. That solenoid is like a small motor that closes a valve or turns open a valve, right? So I've got my water on, and then there's a solenoid that is connected to an interface, an irrigation interface. It's a circular, it's like a circular thing. I forgot the exact name of it, but that's where it's a timer, like an automated timer that helps. It hooks up to your essentially station. You have a solenoid station. So you would put this solenoid station in the ground, maybe on a piece of wood or PVC pipe. And then you would hook your hose up to that and then turn your hose on, and that solenoid stops the water, right? And then you've got this interface hooked up to a battery that's inside, and have it on timer, so that way it opens and closes it. That water will flow through the pipe, and that feeds my greenhouse. So I don't even have it on a pump because I already have my pump coming up from the well that gives it a lot of pressure. So there's already a lot of pressure from the well to my interface. And I have it, one setting. My greenhouse is only, maybe 20 feet long. So it doesn't really need an extra pump between that or to add more pump. I don't even have a sub pump. So like a lot of greenhouses, what they'll do is they'll put that in a tank, an above ground tank, to help with even more pressure. And then that way they also have like a settling tank, which I do need a settling tank. I really do, because there's lots of sediment that gets into my lines, because my pump from my well is pulling up like really good. I just had my pump replaced last year, and it just brings up a lot of sediment in my well. It's gotten better, it's settled, but there's still a lot of sediment in my well that the pump just pulls up. So good question. So it could be really simple, but definitely look up. I have some information about pumps and things like that in my book. I have a whole section about irrigation actually in my book, and this comes with membership. So the digital copy, the PDF version of this book is actually in the members community. You can read this book. There's lots of photos in here, lots of tips, tricks, design, home design, residential, commercial design, farm design, and there's some irrigation tips in here as well. The physical paperback version is also available. So you can also just get this by itself without membership if you wanted. It's on sale. You can use Moringa 10 for the book. I do have quite a bit of information about irrigation and things like that in there, especially for moringa trees. Wow, Dr. Connie's got 100 drumsticks and the seeds are white and they look full, but they're white. And that's because they're wet and the wings are greenish. Exactly. So if you just take those and you dry them out for a week without opening them up, wait until they're crispy brown before opening, you'll find that that gives it the time to darken up. And then you'll have a nice, mature, dark seed that is going to be great. Nice. Yeah, so for drying, Dr. Connie, I wouldn't even put them in the oven. I would just let them sit out. Freeze dry is good, is pretty good, but the actual drying it at 170 degrees, you want to keep the temperature below 100. So that's why a dehydrator is good, because it's more of like a warm heat that's less than 100. You want to keep it below 100 degrees because like vitamin C is very sensitive to high heat. And that's one of the reasons why pasteurizing is so detrimental to the original value of what you're drinking. I say like orange juice, it's pasteurized. So then what do? They have to put vitamin C back into it. So they add the vitamin C powder back to the orange juice after pasteurizing it. So it's not actually the original vitamin C. So you want to keep your vitamin C intact. You want to keep as much vitamins and minerals intact as you can and try not to heat it. But, it's like with cooking anything. It's like you're getting some things, right? Like if you're cooking something at a high heat, some things do really well with high heat. It helps to break the cell wall and allows you to actually digest some of those vitamins and minerals. But for other things, it's good to have that in a raw form or in as good of a raw form as you can. Say for some of the greens, of course, I'm cooking, like I'll make the powder and I'll put it in my food as a spice, and I'm cooking it and my food is hot, but there's other minerals that are not affected by the heat. But there are some vitamins that are more so affected by the heat. Minerals, not so much, but vitamins a little bit more. Yeah. Oh, good. Alfred's here. Thanks, Alfred. Thanks for asking a really great question here. You've got some of those large grasshoppers. I call those things Salvador. Salvador Dali, he always would paint like grasshoppers and he would have nightmares of grasshoppers. So anytime I see a grasshopper, I call it Salvador. One of my favorite artists, Salvador Dali. And so this Alfred's grasshoppers are actually getting to the pods before they get mature. How to prevent grasshoppers? Great question. So I'm a permaculturalist, right? So I studied permaculture practices with Corrine Brennan, and I've had a few other teachers along the journey now for about 7-8 years. So you don't have a grasshopper problem. You actually have a shortage of turkeys, right? So turkeys are an animal that eat grasshopper and larvae, or chickens, So in that way, it's like that's what some places and farms are good for, is because it helps to those animals, they help to eat the larva. And so you can travel, your chickens or your turkeys around, and especially around trees, and that'll help, right, with the larva. But, that's for farms. But I suspect maybe, Alfred, you're in maybe a suburban area, maybe not have the ability to have turkeys or chickens. So one of the things that you can do is you can spray neem. Neem actually helps to keep grasshoppers off. Neem oil, water. So just take a sprayer and spray neem oil on it. One of the things that you can do is also put diatomaceous earth on there. That also helps to keep any of the exoskeleton type of animals, insects, off of your trees. I just would, put some diatomaceous earth. I'll put my hand in some diatomaceous earth and just kind of splat it around a little bit. It's like a white powder. It gets into the shell and the exoskeleton, and it prevents them from being able to really move around too much and from having babies. So that's another way. So neem oil spray, diatomaceous earth, but you can also do what melon farmers do, or like apple farmers do, or even papaya farmers do. Sometimes they will put a net around it. So if you're really trying to get those drumsticks, you can put a net around them. Another thing, not just a net or a paper bag, but a net works really well too because of airflow. But just harvest them. Like, I think one of the issues that you might have too is maybe having bad pods, like maybe too many pods, because one of the issues is when you, like, moringa is going to produce a lot of material, right? The moringa tree produces a lot of material over time. And so one of the issues that you might have is you're not taking everything off the tree regularly. Like, you've got to trim the tree back so that way there's nothing to eat. A big tree, if you've got a big tree and you're having this issue, make a big harvest, take everything out of the ability to eat. They'll leave. And then before you know it, you'll have large greens. Now, it will take another year for you to form drumsticks again. Another one of the issues is just not having enough trees, because you might only have one tree and you're not really giving back to nature, where you're like, hey, grasshoppers, you can have a couple. But if you planted 100 trees, they're not going to be able to eat all of that, right? So it could just be a matter of planting more. Someone's asking, Lane is asking about the diatomaceous earth. It is good to wear gloves with diatomaceous earth, but it doesn't really affect us as much, right? I mean, we can actually eat it. I drink, diatomaceous earth in my water. It's like, baking soda, kind of. I mean, it's not similar at all, where actually they are. They're both rock form. The diatomaceous earth essentially is ground up rock form of like fossils and like a shallow ocean bed. Like, there's like a layer of diatomaceous earth in special areas where they find these fossils and they grind them up. They're rock. They're not rock, right? But they are fossilized, petrified, living organisms. They don't really affect us like they do. If, a matter of fact, if you've got bed bugs or lice, diatomaceous earth can really help keep the bugs off. Especially like if you've got like big hair, like I used to have big, thick dreads, and I would put diatomaceous earth in my hair when I was living in, say, like the cabins in the woods, just to make sure that I didn't get anything in my hair. when I was going through my real hippie phase, traveling, working on other farms, the conditions were not always that good, but I always had diatomaceous earth with me to really help me just kind of keep my hair clean. I would also put it on my skin. It doesn't really affect us like it does affect exoskeleton insects. It can be cleansing, especially drinking it too. It can be very good for like goats and sheep and dogs, and putting it on their skin as well. It keeps fleas. Fleas don't like it. So if your dog is infested with fleas, it's good to put some diatomaceous earth down. Oh, good. Lane is actually asking about those little tiny little green worms that find it into the seedlings. Well, like I said, the leaves are very, very easy to eat. They're very light and thin. So not only do we like to eat them, but so does a lot of pests and bugs. So spraying with the neem oil, they really don't like neem oil. And also the biostimulant. This biostimulant, if you get it under the leaves, it really helps to not only get them some food, but also because this has zeatin in it. So if you can get it on the leaves, it actually helps to feed the microorganisms and the enzymes and the proteins in the leaves. And so I'll spray every once in a while. I'll get in here and I'll spray the tops and the bottoms. That helps to get those little worms off. But also, if you're having little tiny worms, it could be that they're too wet. So just trying to keep it dry. I really try to keep it dry. Okay. So Lane is actually talking about the drying process. Okay. So yeah. So regular harvesting. This is the thing. If you're having lots of pests and bugs, it's because you're not harvesting enough. You're not bringing all of the material off the tree so that way those bugs go away. If you constantly like I said, the trees have a lot of material. They can attract pests, and then you're bringing those pests potentially inside. So what you're wanting to do is wash your greens before you dry them. So you want to be able to shake. So what I'll do is if I grab a big branch or if I grab a big stem, right, I'll take the branches off and then I'm dunking that in water and I'm shaking it around like this to potentially get off any of those worms or bugs off the leaves. And I have two buckets of water, the wash and then also just the rinse, right? And then by doing that, then I bring it into the dry room. So before you're even bringing it in, doing a wash is important. Now, in my dry room, I also have like the zappers. So you got to have zapper lights in your dry room. So that way, when those larvae, if there is larvae, they end up turning into flying bugs, like mealy bugs or those little red ones with the little red wings. Ooh, they're terrible to get rid of, right? But to keep your space really clean is to have the little zapper lights. So I have zapper lights in every stage of the process, in the dry room, as well as the laboratory where I'm processing. And I always keep everything in bins. I never have anything open. That way, if there are any flying bugs inside of the dried leaves, they're contained in the bins. Then, as a step to reduce those bugs and get rid of them completely, package right away in a sealed package, and then freeze them for 3 days. You want to put your greens, your dried greens or your powder in a sealed package and then put it in the freezer for at least 3 days, 72 hours. That way you're killing any of the remainder larvae that might be inside of your dried leaves, right? So that's going to be really important to really reduce all along the way. Wash, rinse, and then bug zappers, then sealing up into your sealed product with a vacuum seal, right? So using a vacuum seal, sealing that up real tight, and then throwing that in the freezer for 3 days. That is essentially your irradiation, your organic irradiation. You guys are great. Thanks, everybody, for coming in. Were there any other questions while we're here? Oh, wow, we've had about 20 to 40 people in here. We've got about 20 likes. Thanks. Like this video if you haven't yet, and subscribe to the Grow Moringa YouTube channel. Thank you. Thank you. I've been talking here for about an hour and a half. I love it, though. I love getting all this information to you. That way you can see about growing your own Moringa microgreens. We went through and we made our own. Everything comes in the kit. And this box here also has a lot of information inside the box. It's a book inside of a box. You're going to get this box. Comes with soil, comes with biostimulant powder, comes with perlite, comes with the biostimulant extract, and within 6 days, these sprouted within 6 days. I usually keep it a little dry, but now that they're starting to really get to that next tier, I'm really just popping these tops off, and they're going to start resprouting. Some of them are already resprouting, like, yeah, and it thickens the stem up too. So a lot of the pest issues, if you're having pest issues, it's mostly because you're not taking enough of the leaves. It might be too wet. You might want to create like a little bit of a channel around the base of the tree, making sure the water is coming off of the tree. If you're having a lot of pests, you know, the tree might not be in a very good spot or might not have enough sun. So, you know, there's a lot of factors in that. Great. And then once you have even some of these microgreens, if you get a couple of trays growing, you can even take these to the farmer's market every Saturday and have fresh greens on the table. Do like a $5 tray, 3 for $10, buy 2, get 1 free. Boom. Love it. Everybody here is having a great time learning about diatomaceous earth. Neem oil is a great pesticide as well. And even the biostimulant extract, it really helps to keep a lot of the pests off as well. It really just strengthens the plant, the immunity of it. Boom. I'm going to go have me some salad. And I'm going to be working on another video. I'm working on a video here, a microgreens video. So I'll be coming out with some more microgreens videos for you guys. Please follow us on Instagram at Grow Moringa, at We Grow Moringa. On IG. I'm going to get on Threads as well. And of course, I'm on LinkedIn. We have a Facebook group as well. This Facebook group is a great way for you to connect with us. Let me go to Facebook. I'll share the group here with you. It's the Grow Moringa Collective Facebook group. You can ask questions in there as well. A lot of this is set up for you to also make sales. So if you have moringa for sale, let's see some pictures. You know, I want to get you some sales. Oh, good. Faisal is asking about the biofuel. the Moringa biofuel. So, oh, are you talking about the biostimulant? Because biofuel is the oil, just the oil by itself. The Moringa oil is used as biofuel. So that's biofuel is the oil. And the Instagram is at We Grow Moringa, and it's in the chat as well. At We Grow Moringa on Instagram. Yeah, I'd love to follow us on there. So Faisal is asking about the biofuel. Not sure if he's saying the biostimulant or the actual biofuel. The biofuel is the oil, which can be put into cars. The biostimulant, and so maybe Faisal was maybe going to the nurseries where the biostimulant can be used on other plants. Yes, great question. So Faisal's asking, is biostimulant? Okay, good. Right. The biofuel is really just the seed oil. The seed oil is biofuel. So if you just alter your car to be able to take biofuel, you can put moringa oil in it. It's nuts. It's amazing. So they're actually growing moringa trees in India with lots of drumsticks. They use the Momax 3. And these moringa trees produce lots of drumsticks. And they're making oil with that. And there's a guy there, Maharishi in India. He's a doctor. He created the Momax, and he's got a university there, and he's very famous with moringa in India. And I think he's ABC company. He's got the ABC company or something like that. ABC Biofuel, something like that. And he's also in the Facebook group, and they make biofuel from the oil, right? And so if you went to a plant nursery and you told them about this, what you could do as a form of extra income is purchase even this in big 20-liter bottles. Then you can bottle this up like this. You could put a label on it. It could either be this label or your label, whatever you choose, if you wanted to have your label on it, because this can be white labeled, right? And you can go to the nursery and say, hey, I've got a wholesale deal for you where you can put this on the shelf and all the information is there. You have your labels, and you can begin to make sales that way. So you can use the biostimulant in bags. So you can have in plants in bags, plants in pots, put it directly in the ground. And also you're asking about the spray. So I think before you got here, I used it in the kit here. So I put the biostimulant in here. We mixed up a whole gallon of water and the biostimulant here. And then I have a spray here where I normally will just spray the biostimulant right here on the leaves like this. We'll just go ahead and give them a little bit of a water right here. And that's exactly right. So I went ahead and put the biostimulant in the spray here, and you can spray the leaves. And the zeatin, the active ingredient that's in moringa, so the active ingredient that's in moringa leaves, which is zeatin, is concentrated in here. And so when you're spraying it, you're actually giving it that zeatin. And zeatin is a natural occurring hormone. And it is also an enzyme or a protein that is in abundance in moringa leaves. It's actually one of the reasons why moringa is the fastest growing tree in the world, is because it has so much of this ingredient, zeatin. So, yeah. So definitely you want to spray it on all your plants. So having this opens you up to other markets. This is where you're able to sell to all farmers. When you're selling moringa powder, you're really just, for people, you're really just maybe selling a little bit, maybe 100 grams, 200 grams, maybe a pound or 2 pounds a month to a family. But when you open yourself up to being able to offer the powder and you're marketing it to farmers as a biostimulant, then they're buying 10 pounds, 100 pounds a month. So you're 10xing your supply with selling to farmers. So when you're starting your moringa business, it's knowing your market and who you're talking to. Are you talking to the 60 and up crowd who may be taking a lot of capsules, which is a big part of my customers? Are you talking to the 30 and under, who might be culinary and making foods and things like that? So for me, what I like to talk to are homeowners. So I start off a lot of my marketing and advertising like, hey, homeowner, because I want to open up to selling seeds and trees for people that have backyards, because that's kind of my market, who I'm gearing towards. But I could also say, hey, animal lovers, is your dog itchy, or does it have arthritis? Then you can put this powder and put another label on it, a whole different label on it that says dog food, animal food. It's the same powder for people, pets, and plants. Now, there are different grades of powder and the cost and labor, right? Because say like something like this is something very, very meticulous, where it's like, okay, I'm here, I'm a person, I'm having to cut this and put this in here, right? I'm selling this for a very high price compared to, say, something that is going on plants. It can be much more of like a mechanized system where they're drawing a little bit more of the sticks and the stems in it, right? And they didn't even filter it or even kind of sift any of that stuff out. They just, it's a different grade of powder. So you can get really, really cheap. You can really get really cheap powder. Or you can get really expensive powder where it's super green. It's been meticulously hand cared for and washed and rinsed and harvested and stripped off all the stems where there's no stems in it at all. And that's a powder that's, say, like $100 a kilo, versus, say, something that's much more for like animal consumption. Now, it's still safe. Now, animals actually benefit a little bit more from like, I would say certain animals benefit a little bit more from eating the woody part of the moringa. So like you can cut moringa branches and then throw it right down on, say, your goats or your chickens, right? They're going to eat more of the sticks and stems. And so when you're marketing to farmers and people that are going to be using it on their animals, then you can have a powder that's produced cheaper and sell it cheaper, right? Versus, say, having a powder that is super green. Now, what I was going to say is, you still can't sell powder that has mold and bacteria and E. coli and pests in it, right? It still needs to be made safely. So you still have to go through, a proper drying process, a proper washing process. It's a misconception to think that the animal industry is any less restrictive than the human industry. although, you look at your dog food and it's like, chicken meal, fish meal, it's the excrements and the leftovers and the things that say we don't eat, right? It's like the gizzards and everything that are left over from pulling all that stuff out. So it's still done safely and quickly to where there's no mold or bacteria, or it's been processed in a way that's still, to code. There is still a code. And so that why there are different grades of the powder. Now, to have a very effective use of the moringa and to have it activate the best is you want to use both the powder and the extract. I put the powder in the soil. So we put the powder in our soil here. Then we sprayed it with the extract, and that's going to also help not only feed the microorganisms that are in here because it's got powder and it's got some sustenance for them to eat, but also the hormones and the active ingredients and microorganisms, the enzymes, the proteins that are in the leaf. They're also the powder. They're also going to get activated with the extract. So there's just a synergy when you use both of them together, which is why we put both of them together in the microgreens kit. Hey, wonderful. Someone here got my book. Thank you. Thank you so much. I've been getting a little bit of mixed reviews because, it's so much information that sometimes it can be a little bit too much for people. But I appreciate that. It does have a lot of really good information. And I am actually going to be editing this first copy, this first version. And we're just going to keep every year. We're going to be making this better and better and better and better every single year. And thanks for getting that. I'm really glad that you can benefit from this physical book. Thank you so much for getting that, Sholo. I'm really happy that you got that. Yeah. We do have the book. I'm glad that you grabbed it, the physical copy of the book. Thank you. I'm going to go here. I'm having a great time with you guys. Thanks so much for being active here. I've got my book here. This is the paperback version. I'll go ahead and share it with everybody here. You can get your copy here. And you can use code Moringa10 for 10% off. I'm glad it came quickly. Actually, I have it distributed with a like a shipping on demand company helps me get those out quickly. So I'm glad that you got that quickly. That's good. For anybody ordering products from me, I have actually now capsules on sale, powder on sale, tea on sale, because I've been harvesting every day now for the past few months, and I have a little bit of a stock. And so I've got the items on sale. So a couple months ago, like 4 months ago, I had a lot of people hitting me up for capsules and tea and powder, and I just didn't have anything. I was actually working on my book. And so a lot of people were upset. They're like, where am I going to get my moringa? And I would tell them that they can go to the free marketplace and ask my network of people that might have it. So if you are looking for anything and I don't have it, or you possibly want to get it from somebody else, go to the free marketplace, get it in there, and ask in a post what you might want. Okay, I just went ahead and shared that there for you as well. That's free. And that also has a new free manual. I just finished that today. I was working on that all week. I've been kind of quiet this week and worked on the new free Moringa manual. I just finished that today, just before I went live. And that new updated free Moringa manual is packed. It's 13 pages of solid information. I'm going to throw that inside the Moringa Marketplace. And also, I will send it to you in an email if you're already on my email list. I've got about 13,000 people on my email list now that I send out emails regularly. And if you're not on the list yet, go ahead and get into the list. You can get on the list. The newsletter is at my website, https growmoringa.com is where you can sign up for my newsletter. And then that's kind of like my hub, where I also have all of my links where you can either get the free manual, or you can get the book, or you can come into the members area. And hopefully when I get off of here, maybe there's a few people that have signed up to the new members area to be able to get consistent help from me, access, and support. So that's a big part of what I do. Is now I'm really wanting to teach everybody, like Faisal here has a farm and is trying to make some money off of his property. So actually tell me, Faisal, if you can, the updated version of your plan, because I have a plan there with Faisal. I want to go ahead and finish that plan for you. Give me the okay, or if you have any critiques on your plan, I went ahead and submitted a plan for you. It's in your email. And it's looking really good. We've got an orchard coming in the front, and we've got the garden and the greenhouse coming in the back. And I'm really interested in having you see it. So I'm glad that you're here. Well, hopefully you're still watching and can let me know if we can move forward, because I want to go ahead and finish that plan. I want to be able to share it with people and let them see some of my work. So thanks. Appreciate it. Man, we've had a lot of people come in here. Thanks for liking the video. But I've been having a great time sharing with you guys about this microgreens kit. If you're just coming in, this is what we've been doing today. We went ahead and made some harvests off of our kit. I've only really had this growing for like a week and a half. This sprouted just probably 10 days ago. And I've already harvested these trees multiple times. They're starting to come back from the harvest. So get on the newsletter so that way you can get the free manual. I'm going to send out the new free manual in the newsletter. It's at the bottom there. And I also have a menu at the bottom of my website where there's recipes. There's also lots of information about supplies. So if you're needing some of these supplies that I use to help get your business going, you can go to my website, growmoringa.com. Actually will have a supplies list and a few other things. My site is constantly being added to. I'm adding things to it all the time. So thanks, everybody. Well, if there's any other questions, I had a great time answering your questions. And of course, I'm going to try to be back here next Sunday at 3 p.m. and hang out. This is a really great time for me to be able to kind of just give you some information. I go live every Wednesday in the members area and more of like a one-on-one Zoom where we can all talk and chat. Yeah. We actually have several members in Arizona. They're doing really well with their intensive beds. Actually, one of our members, Desert Mountain Moringa and Microgreens, actually, Jack grows greens like this and sells his packages like this at the farmer's market. So he has a really great operation going. He's kind of in like, I think the northern area a little bit. It's a little bit greener up there. Of course, it's like a desert too still, but he has a lot of success with Moringa for most parts of the year. He's growing lots of other things too. So he's just incorporating Moringa into his products, you know. One of the things that Moringa is really good for is getting yourself started. So like for me, the very first thing that I did and what I want Faisal to do to help make some cash is to plant a lot of trees fast as a pioneer crop. Pioneer crop, right? A pioneer crop is something that you can just get started. It gets you some cash. It helps to establish your soil, and it helps you to essentially get your farm started. And that's what moringa really is a pioneer crop. So the first thing I did when I got to my property in 2019 was just try to plant as many trees as I could. I also got lots of mulch dropped off to my property, and I started putting the cuttings in the mulch. And then over time, those mulch cuttings, they took, and now I've got thousands of trees. I've got 30,000 trees in my front, and I've got about 250 or so orchard trees on the side, and I've got border trees now going in all around the border of the property. So, I mean, I've got over, 30,000 trees, consistently, harvesting, cutting back, like fresh microgreens, getting those, selling those fresh. Usually there's a day out of the week where I'll say, hey, everybody, because I have a list on my phone, like fresh greens. There's like 20 people that love fresh greens. So I'll text that group and say, hey, fresh greens tomorrow. And I'll have 10 people come down here getting fresh greens. So there's many different ways to offer your moringa. Have sales. And I talk a lot about the business training involved inside of my collective. So we'd love for you to come into the collective. I'll be live on Wednesday inside the members area. And pretty soon I'm going to be live. Once it gets colder out and the times change, I'm just going to go live pretty much every day. Great. Good. Thanks, everybody. I'm glad you guys are chatting. We've got Sholo and Lane chatting it up. Got some family in Arizona. I've got family in San Diego, California. So hopefully they're doing all right. I'll give them a ring and see if everything's going on with them, because I know they've got a storm coming in tomorrow. But I hope you guys have a great Sunday. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. I've had a great day with you as well. And we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. So peace, everybody. I hope you had a great time and you learned a lot about getting your microgreens operation established. Come on back and see me. Make sure to like the video and subscribe, of course. And if you need anything, you can also text me collective at 813-567-3100 if you need to get in, and I'll give you a call back. Yeah, yep. SoCal could be flooding for the first time in a long time. I mean, I just talked to my dad yesterday, and he's saying that it's the first time that there's been a tropical storm or any kind of hurricane of that magnitude going up the West Coast like that. So at least the first time in a long time, right? I mean, this could be 100, 200-year storm, and they're just not equipped to have floods like that. Like here, it floods every day. Like it just started raining right now. And it's pouring out right now. So I mean, we get this here every day. It's kind of a standard thing here in the summer, especially August. Oh my goodness, August floods every single day in Florida. So, oh, good. Holly is here. Holly would love to start a moringa business and has a small tree so far. If you need any kind of training or help, please come on into the free marketplace first. I have a free manual in there. I've also got chapter 1 of my book available for you in there. My book has 11 other chapters in it that are very, 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 very good for helping you with business. I talk a lot about how your parents lied to you, because, like, for instance, my dad would always say, money doesn't grow on trees, but it does, especially moringa trees. Oh, really? Holly is saying that that they live in Davenport. Very close. Yeah. So, I mean, you could be a very, very good supplier. I could help you get sales if you just have a tree. I can help you get sales. You can market your moringa. I think the very first thing that what you need to figure out is a dry room. So the very first thing that you're going to need is a dry room. If you've got a big tree, you need to dry those leaves. So the very first thing that you're going to need to do is be able to harvest those trees back, that tree back, and then get the greens and dry it. That's going to be the real test for you. Okay. That's going to be the real test for you to be able to turn this into a business, because yeah, you could sell seeds and you could sell the trees, right? So you could grow lots of trees like this. This is our microgreens kit that we were talking about today. This is kind of what I did. I put this together for the members and for the visitors and the viewers here today. So that way you could see, just after about a week, I've got 200 trees in this kit. So this kit could also help increase the scale and the amount of trees that you have. That's going to be very important in getting your business to the next level. Is, yeah, you might have one tree, but you need to get 100 trees. You need to get a lot more trees going in order for you to be able to start making some income from it and to get your business going. Now, of course, in the meantime, you can start buying in things. You could buy in seeds, you can buy in powder, you can buy in capsules, things like that. And then the next step is to be able to start taking payments. You've got to want to be able to take payments. So you've got to get a PayPal, you've got to get a Stripe, you've got to get a Venmo, you got to get a Zelle, you've got to get Cash App, you've got to get all the ways to be able to take money and be able to trade, because someone's going to say, hey, do you take Bitcoin? And you're going to have to say, yeah, I can take Bitcoin. So you set yourself up on a Coinbase and get yourself a Bitcoin address. So that way, no matter what the buyer wants to give you, you're able to accept it. So that's going to be a big part of getting your business going. And I teach that in my book as well as inside of my members area. But if anything, first come on into the free marketplace. Just come to my website. You'll see free marketplace there, growmoringa.com. Free marketplace is there. That'll get you in. Love to see you in there. Ask questions, and I'll be back, next week around this time, unless anything changes. I'm trying to be really consistent here every Sunday at 3 to be able to hang out with you guys for an hour or 2 hours. So thanks, Ali. You came in right when we were just dipping out, but I'll go ahead and stop this. You can go ahead and catch the whole thing. This is about 2 hours here, and I've got hundreds of other videos for you to catch up on and watch. And so, thank you. We've got our chat is live right now. The chat is live. Everybody's getting to know each other and hanging out. So I really hope that you guys actually get together in the free marketplace. So that way you can get to know each other a little bit more. Check it out. It's on Mighty Networks. So you can download Mighty Networks to your phone and actually get into the free marketplace, where I'm living every day. I'm answering questions in there. People are sharing photos. They're getting advice, and they're actually starting to sell. They're starting to sell their products or whatever they have. If I only have, a little bit of greens, I could still get this together, dry this up, get this in a package, and still $5-10. All right. Thanks, Lane. Thanks, Ali. I appreciate it. Oh, Ali's been watching too. Thanks, Ali. And thanks, Sholo, for being here. Thanks, Lane. Thanks, Dr. Connie, and everybody that came through, Faisal, Kaz, and everybody else as well. Really appreciate you for coming in today. Had lots of viewers, and just really appreciate your help. So you guys have a great one. I'll talk to you soon. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.